Welcome to this video on escaping the 26% credit card interest trap. We will move step by step from understanding why 26% is a financial emergency to concrete, aggressive actions that can erase high interest balances quickly. I will share specific tactics, numbers, budgeting moves, and a plan to prevent this from happening again. Here is our roadmap. First, we will explain why 26% interest is an emergency. Next, we will execute Phase 1, the interest rate assault. Then, we will move into Phase 2, on execution and budgeting. After that, we will cover Phase 3, on rebuilding financial security. We will also cover smart use of points and assets, how to treat retirement accounts, and RMDs, 2 short quizzes. And finally, we will close with key takeaways and next steps. At 26% APR, the balance compounds so quickly that it overwhelms most investment returns. Consequently, paying this debt is essentially a guaranteed, high-yield action. Therefore, before tackling non-essential savings goals or speculative investments, prioritize eliminating this high-interest balance. Phase 1 is the interest rate assault. First, apply for a 0% APR balance transfer card as soon as possible. If approved, transfer the balance, accept the 3 to 5% fee, freeze new spending, and build an aggressive payoff plan. If not approved, call your issuer and request an APR reduction and hardship options. Second, consider the strategic sell-off. When paying 26%, selling non-performing crypto and gold is a rational choice, because eliminating this debt yields an instant, guaranteed return. Third, redeem all cash back immediately. Consider converting points to cash if their redemption value is lower than the interest you would otherwise pay during the payoff period. Here is how to execute a balance transfer. First, check your credit score and the card's requirements. Next, apply for a 0% introductory APR balance transfer card with a limit large enough to cover most or all of your balance. Then, transfer the balance and accept the 3 to 5% fee, which buys you valuable 0% time for 12 to 21 months. After that, set autopay for a fixed amount that eliminates the balance before the promotional period ends, and do not make new charges on this card. Meanwhile, track the promo end date and remaining balance each week. If you are denied, call your current issuer and request a temporary APR reduction or hardship options. The controversial sell-off suggests liquidating non-performing crypto and gold to raise approximately $7,000. Add a $2,000 work bonus and $1,200 of cash back for a rapid lump sum payment. As a result, a $15,000 balance could drop by roughly $10,200 in a matter of days, dramatically reducing interest accrual and creating immediate psychological momentum. Quiz time. Which move typically saves the most interest in the first 30 days on a $15,000 balance at 26% APR? Option A. Keep points for future travel and pay the minimum. Option B. Apply a 0% APR balance transfer and pay the transfer fee. Option C. Do nothing for a month to see if rates fall. Option D. Buy more crypto and hope it outperforms the interest. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. Apply a 0% APR balance transfer and pay the transfer fee. Stopping compounding interest quickly typically outweighs the initial transfer fee. Phase 2 is execution and budgeting. First, execute an immediate liquidation dump using your work bonus, asset sales, and cash back to cut more than 50% of the principal quickly. Next, make aggressive monthly payments of $1,500 to $2,000 until the balance is zero. Then, prioritize debt over savings by pausing non-matched retirement contributions and paying only minimums on student loans at 4 to 6%. Finally, if your inherited IRA requires required minimum distributions, direct those distributions immediately toward the high-interest balance. This flowchart shows the end-to-end journey. First, Phase 1. Attempt a 0% balance transfer. If approved, transfer and freeze new spending. If denied, call the issuer to request an APR reduction. Regardless, sell non-performing assets and redeem cash back or points if the cash value beats the interest saved. Next, Phase 2. Combine the lump sum to cut principal and set an aggressive autopay between $1,500 and $2,000 monthly. Pause non-matched retirement contributions and pay only minimums on relatively cheap student loans. If applicable, direct any required minimum distributions from an inherited IRA to the high-interest debt. Finally, Phase 3. After the balance hits zero, implement a zero-based budget and redirect the same large monthly payment toward building a 3-month emergency fund before resuming aggressive investing. This table presents an illustrative payoff timeline. At the start, apply a lump sum of $10,200 consisting of a $2,000 bonus, $7,000 from asset sales, and $1,200 in cash back, reducing the balance from $15,000 to $4,800. In month 1, pay $1,600, leaving approximately $3,200. In month 2, pay another $1,600, leaving approximately $1,600. In month 3, make a final $1,600 payment to reach zero. Actual amounts may vary based on fees and interest timing, but the principle is to compress the timeline as much as possible. Here is a zero-based budget template. First, list monthly income. Next, allocate fixed costs such as $1,700 for rent and $200 for parking, plus utilities and insurance. Then, allocate variable needs like groceries and transportation. During the payoff period, set dining out to zero and cancel or pause subscriptions where possible. Assign between $1,500 and $2,000 to debt paydown. Finally, set savings and investing to zero until the 26% balance is eliminated. The included code block demonstrates a sample envelope where any leftover buffer is rolled into debt payments so that every dollar is assigned. This comparison shows the impact of payment strategy. With minimum payments, typically around 2% of the balance, interest at 26% can cause the balance to stagnate or shrink very slowly, leading to years of payments and higher total cost. By contrast, an aggressive plan with $1,500 to $2,000 per month causes the principal to drop quickly, reduces the payoff timeline to months rather than years, and lowers total interest dramatically. Second quiz. When should you preserve travel points instead of cashing them out to pay down a 26% credit card? Option A. When their cash value is lower than the interest saved by paying debt. Option B. When their redemption value far exceeds the interest you will save during your payoff window. Option C. Always preserve points no matter what. Option D. Never preserve points under any circumstance. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is B. Preserve points only when their redemption value significantly exceeds the interest you would save by cashing them out and paying the debt sooner. Otherwise, convert them to cash and use them to reduce the high interest balance. Phase 3 is rebuilding security. First, address the root cause by tracking all spending and eliminating overspending habits. Next, adopt a strict zero-based budget, removing dining out and reducing subscriptions. After the high interest balance is eliminated, redirect the same $1,500 to $2,000 per month toward building a 3-month emergency fund. Finally, once your buffer is established, gradually restart investing and address lower interest debts. This pie chart illustrates a sample allocation for the funds freed up after the debt is eliminated. 60% goes to building an emergency fund, 20% to retirement investing, 10% to carefully reintroducing discretionary spending, and 10% to accelerating any remaining lower interest debts. These percentages are illustrative and should be adjusted to personal goals and obligations. Regarding retirement accounts, generally do not tap your 401k or protected IRAs because of taxes, penalties, and the loss of future compounding. The primary exception is an inherited IRA that requires required minimum distributions. In that case, direct those distributions toward the high interest balance. During the payoff period, pause only non-matched contributions temporarily and continue to take the employer match if available. Important disclaimer. This content is educational only and not financial, tax, or legal advice. Everyone's situation is unique, so consult a qualified professional before taking action. Here are the key takeaways. First, 26% APR is an emergency. Second, buy time with a 0% balance transfer or negotiate a rate reduction. Third, liquidate non-performing assets and redeem cash equivalents to hit the principal hard. Fourth, pay $1,500 to $2,000 per month until the balance is zero. Fifth, pause non-matched investing and pay only minimums on lower rate loans. Sixth, After payoff, build a 3-month emergency fund. Finally, correct overspending using a zero-based budgeting approach. In summary, you now have a 3-phase plan to eliminate 26% debt and rebuild stability. Combine lump sums with aggressive monthly payments to compress the payoff timeline to months rather than years. Finally, lock in new habits with zero-based budgeting and build an emergency fund to prevent relapse. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. In the comments, share your questions and your target payoff timeline so we can celebrate your first debt-free day together.